I wanted to talk about my Seahawks. Man, did I call it this year, huh? I mean, you can look back at the tape from last year, and when the Russell Wilson trade was made, just look at it. I called it. I mean, just like it's going right now. I said we were going to be just tremendously good. Gino was going to be an MVP candidate. I called it. I mean, what more can you ask of me, right? Yeah, obviously I'm kidding. So when the Russ trade happened, I was pissed. I thought it was a terrible move. I thought the Seahawks would be rebuilding for 2, 3, 4 years. Um, Somehow in one off season, I mean, we just rebuilt. I mean, it's insane how much talent is on this team. Between Kenneth Walker, running back, Tariq Woolen at corner, Kobe Bryant, the other corner. I even like Boye Mafe, the two tackles. I mean, it's just, you look at Jordan Brooks. The only guy on our defense that I don't really like, honestly, is Cody Barton. Not a big fan. We'll see. I think we could do better at linebacker. I think he lacks the physicality, but even the corners. I mean, Michael Jackson's been solid. You look at this team; it's just all around. I mean, just stacked. The tight ends look great. Yeah, I mean, beside injury, I don't think we have as much depth as we need, but it's pretty staggering how good this roster is. And I mean, and I mean, the biggest surprise, of course, is how good is Geno Smith. I mean, he looks better than Russ right now. Like he's making all the throws. He's athletic. He's big, and his command of the offense is just something that honestly, in all the years Russ was here, I'm not sure there was such a good command of the offense. Maybe the first 3, 4 years with the Super Bowl run and all that. Yeah, that was legit. But the last 2, 3 years with the Russ, we were taking a lot of sacks. More than 2, 3 years, 5, 6 years, taking a lot of sacks. He wasn't calling the right protections. He wasn't audibling. When blitz were coming, he wasn't audibling. He was holding the ball too long, trying to go for the deep play. Gino just he just reads defenses and just yeah. I mean he audibles it. He gets to the ball quickly. He can tell what the defense is throwing at us, and he's just doing stuff that. And the fact he's bigger too, he's throwing over the middle. He's using the whole field. He's spreading it out. Russ was kind of like a little bit of he had a couple of tricks up his sleeve that were really 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 good, but he just didn't look like your prototypical QB. And Gino looks like a prototypical athletic QB. I mean, he can just do it all. I mean, the the talent level on Gino is unreal. Like he has a lot of talent. Um, I think that the biggest problem with him is first he started with the Jets, and then after that he never really got a chance. And then I mean, he wasn't this good last year. I mean, even in the 3 games, I did not like what I saw from him last year. But the his I don't know if it's getting more reps or what it is, but his mental IQ just his football IQ is just off the charts right now. Like he's just reading. He just seems like he's always one step ahead of the defense. And in the National Football League, when you're studied that much and when you're game planned and all that, it's really really hard to do as a quarterback. There's only a few quarterbacks that are doing it. And you look around the league, whether it's Aaron Rodgers, whether it's Tom Brady, whether it's Russell Wilson. I mean, they're all struggling. Matthew Stafford, like some of the best quarterbacks we have in this league, pretty much beside Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, like most of the other QBs are struggling. I mean, Brady had that ridiculous drive at the end of today's game to win it, but besides that, he's been, I mean, nothing. I mean, he's done nothing this year. He's been awful, and we're talking about the GOAT. So it's a tough league. It's tough to be good, and now it's 9 weeks. We're 6-3, first in the NFC West. I think we have a game and a half lead. I mean, yeah, the schedule's going to get a little bit tougher. I mean, you play the Buccaneers, where I think they're going to be tough, but man, just I did not see this coming. I thought it was going to be a 3, 4 year rebuild, and we get all those draft picks this offseason. I mean, all the young talent that's on this team. The Tariq Woolen, the Kobe Bryants, the Boye Mafe, the Jordan Brooks. Daryl Taylor hasn't been as good, but he's there. The D line's played great. the two tackles, and Kenneth Walker. I mean, up and down this roster, like we're young, we're good, we're talented, and the most important thing is, like I was when the Russell trade happened, I was like, man, you're trading your leader, the guy who's won, the staple of the team, and I'm just seeing things like we have less penalty flags, we're in and out of the huddle really quick. Like a lot of times, Gino's like he's like rushing when there's like 6-7 left on the clock. Where like with Russ, we'd always get these false starts, and now you're seeing them in Denver. Um, you're seeing all the sacks in Denver too. Um, and the I feel like I'm seeing the old Seahawks again. There's that energy, that enthusiasm, that Pete Carroll vibe to it, and and you really start to wonder, like underneath the hood, what was going on. Like now it's like I really wonder if Russ was just not happy for the past 4 years. I think that the relationship was strained. I think um, we're seeing it in Denver. He wanted to quarterback a certain way. He wanted to be like Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady, and that's not who he was. And there was this constant struggle between him and Pete, and everybody was like, "Let Russ cook." We're holding him back. And even I said, if you're gonna pay a guy, 40, 50 million, you gotta let him loose. So I I agreed to some of that, but I mean, you're seeing it in Denver. He's not good. That's not what he does. I mean, I think we dodged a bullet by not extending him 50 million for next. Dude, those 50 million don't even kick in until next year. Like, I mean, the Broncos, like, he's going to be their quarterback till 2025, through 2025 at least. Um, so, I mean, just nuts. And uh, this cracked me up. Mark Schlereth, the ex-offensive lineman for the Broncos, two-time Super Bowl winner, and he was saying that, because Russ always says after his press conference, like, Bronco Nation, let's ride. And Mark Schlereth's like, Bronco Nation, let's ride to the dump. Because it's like, it's been so bad in Denver. And they had Super Bowl expectations. Like, I went to the Seahawks-Broncos game week 1. I mean, I booed the shit out of Russ. And when we won that game, man, I was so happy. I was yelling shit like, we're going to the Super Bowl. And then Gino, and and booed the shit out of Russell, right? And I was mostly saying that because obviously I was bitter that we lost Russ and we're going nowhere this year. So I was just like over the top, like that felt like our Super Bowl. And now you look at this year, it's like, I mean, dude, we're gonna make it to the playoffs. I think our schedule is going to get harder, so I don't know how many wins we're going to get, but we're going to make it to the playoffs, and we're going to make some noise. I really believe that. I think, especially in the NFC, like there's no one I'm afraid of. I mean, I might have been afraid of the Packers, of the Buccaneers, but they're bad. Maybe the Buccaneers will get it to shape before playoff time, but the Eagles look really good. But I mean, we've never seen Jalen Hurts in the playoffs, so we don't know where that's going to give. Then all the other teams I'm looking at, Minnesota, the Cowboys. I mean, I don't. I mean, I think they're winning some games and they're playing well, but yeah, I'm not afraid of them even on their home field. The Giants, like I mean, we just beat them at home. I know it was at home we got advantage, but dude, Daniel Jones really like I'm not. I mean. So why not? I mean, why not Seattle this year and make it the Super Bowl? I think the AFC is way better. I mean, the AFC is just a different league. Right now, the NFC, like, as long as the Packers and the Buccaneers don't make it, and yeah, why not Seattle? But it's just really interesting how the NFL, it's always been about the quarterback and having that quarterback. And right now, there's a totally different tendency around the league. And it's like, it's more about how well the quarterback's surrounded as opposed to like one guy doing it all. I mean, it's really, really hard for those untalented teams with quarterbacks or maybe a lot of injuries like the Buccaneers to win. So I mean, I'm just shocked. Like everything that's happened, I'm shocked. even Gino, like, I, I'm saying, man, like, I called Drew Lock a bum, and that's only because I thought he was going to be the starter. I didn't even think Gino was going to be on the roster. Um, so if I called Drew Lock a bum, I called Gino probably worse than a bum. And I mean, I was dead wrong on that. Like, he looks fantastic. Um, it's impressive. I mean, it's impressive. Yeah, I'm in all my years of following National Football League, I don't know if I've ever seen this. Like, if we can win 12 games or 11 games, like make it to the playoff, maybe win a playoff game. I mean, with all those draft picks in the offseason, I mean, it's just nuts. Like, I've never seen it turn around that quick. And the crazy thing is, I feel like we're better without Russ, which doesn't really make sense because I do think Russell Wilson's a good quarterback, and I do think they're going to figure it out in Denver eventually. But this year it's not looking good. I don't know if they're even going to make the playoffs. I mean, they might barely win 9 games and make the playoffs, but right now it's not looking like it. I mean, if they keep falling like they are, like, we'll literally have a great draft pick from the Broncos. Like, we thought the high pick was going to be us because we're going to suck this year. It's going to be from the Broncos, who were supposedly going to the Super Bowl, who are shitting on themselves right now. And they have a lot of injuries. I mean, it's just bad. Like, the stuff going on in Denver with nobody believing Nathaniel Hackett. Russell Wilson, his teammates are just like, I mean, totally disregarding him. And he's just making awkward after awkward after awkward interview. And it's just, like, I mean, I never noticed it, and I never noticed it as a big deal. I thought he was just like a professional. But it's true that, I mean, Russ is just, like, he puts up a front, he puts up an image, and I understand, it's like he's a brand, right? Like, when you're a super athlete, like, you're a brand and you want to keep that up. But the hard work ethic, the professionalism, all that stuff, like, was always there. So the image stuff, I was just like, he backs it up. Who cares? I was like, hey, there's nothing. If you're branding something good, why not, right? Like, if your brand is great, put it out there, right? The problem is that he's putting it out there right now when he's been awful, right? And so it just makes me wonder, and that's been the big talk, is who is protecting who? Was it, let Russ cook, let Russ cook. Well, maybe Pete was protecting Russ, to not let him cook. And like I said, a lot of those sacks, they're not happening, Gino. And I know that we got the 2 tackles, but it's not like Russ had shitty O-liners. I mean, he had Dwayne Brown at left tackle. I don't remember our right tackle, actually, from last year, but yeah, I don't remember his name. But I feel like we're a lot better. I mean, this year we're a lot better without him. You're looking, all the false starts, all the delay of games, all the sacks, all those are happening in Denver. All those flags we had on offense. I mean, you look at Shane Waldron, like, his play calling this year compared to last year. Like, I don't know if he just wasn't calling those plays for Russ because he didn't think he could execute them, or because Russ didn't want to run them because, they weren't the prototypical QB like, Brady or Rodgers or Breeze or Manning or whatever. But yeah, it looks like, I mean, I thought Russ was going to run more in Denver. He's not even doing that. So it just looks like Russ is more interested about his image than winning, and he cares more about how to win than win. Like, dude, the NFL is so hard, man. Like, dude, any way you can find to win, and whatever your skill set is, that's what you got to go with. And I feel like Russ is trying to transition into a quarterback he's not, and so that's been the downfall this year. Like, he ain't Aaron Rodgers, and right now the way Rodgers is playing, you don't even want to be Aaron Rodgers. So yeah, Russ has got to just be Russ, and the problem is Nathaniel Hackett. I mean, he runs Aaron Rodgers' offense, right? So how much are they going to be able to, like, synergistically get together and just work that stuff out? They have a lot of injuries already. I mean, yeah, Denver is a mess. They were, Mark Schlereth again had a great quote. He was just like, watching that second half of that game. was worse than like my prostate exam at the doctor that he had that week. Like, I mean, Marshall's just ripping him. Like, I mean, he loves this team, and he was talking so high about them, and all the Denver fans. And I mean, Russ just looks slower. He looks older. I mean, you've been in the league 10 years. The mental side of the game, you should be able to, like I said, call audibles, like dial up the right protection so you don't get a free shot. Like I saw, um, I think it was against the Chargers, just like a free blitzer come right up the middle on Russ, and I don't know, like I mean, when that happens, you got no shot. Like literally unblocked coming from. At least if he comes from the side, you can roll out to the opposite side and still get a throw. This, I mean, no chance. Like the play was done before it even started. So there's just so many things right now Russ isn't doing well, and I mean, he doesn't look like himself. He's talking about how he's his workouts on the plane. It's like, dude, no one cares. Like dude, we love the professionalism, the work ethic, all that stuff. But like, man, when you look that bad, like no one cares, right? Like that you're working hard. Maybe you're working too hard. Maybe there's a mental problem. Like maybe you're trying to force it. Just looked like he's forcing everything. He's trying to be somebody he's not. He's like, when after the loss, he's trying to high five all his teammates in front of the camera. Like it's good sportsmanship, and all his teammates are just ignoring him. Dude, the guy's the quarterback. He's making $240 million. Like he should have all the respect of the guys in the locker room. I don't think many of them do respect him. That's how bad it's gotten because he just hasn't. Like before you lead, you got to lead by example, right? Like you got to lead by example, and he hasn't done that. I mean, the biggest problem in Denver has been Russell Wilson, and I didn't, dude. I'm a huge Russell Wilson fan. I've called him the greatest Seahawk to ever play, and I stick to that. But dude, he's got to I mean, I'm a Seahawks fan, so I want the Broncos to tank themselves this year. But next year, I really like to see Russell Wilson do well, but I mean, it's looking bad. And also the injuries, like he had a couple injuries again. I thought, last year the finger, right? It's like, it's just a freak injury. It could happen to anybody. Bad luck. He had a right shoulder thing. Then he had a leg problem, the hamstring he pulled or whatever. So he's not running anymore. I mean, and he doesn't have the mental side. He doesn't look anything like Brady or have a command of that offense at all. And then you look Geno with us. I mean, he has complete command. Geno looks like, I mean, I feel like he's been in the league for a long time, but I feel like he's been starting on our offense for 5 years. I mean, I'm like, at this point, re-sign him. I don't think we're going to find, a better rookie anytime soon. I mean, I know it's a good rookie class this year, but it's just insane. It's just insane. I mean, all the young talent. And the biggest thing, man, like, out of everything, like, for the Seahawks, it's like, there's that energy, that enthusiasm, or winning close games, where the physicality is back, the defense is hungry. I mean, we sucked on defense the first 3-4 games. It got turned around, like, everything's just clicking. It's like, you can tell the guys are gelling, they're getting along well. There's just that vibe, that Pete Carroll vibe again, and just that hunger that, like, we just look like the team that's just the hungriest on the field. We're just playing with a different intensity. Like I remember like 2012, 13, 14, like even 2011, like our guys are just so hungry and hyped up to play football. I mean, on defense, they were just like, they just couldn't wait to get off, The past couple of years, you're seeing guys like slowly getting up to the line, and like it's like they crouch at the last moment. They just look gassed. Now, like, we're hungry. We're hungry. We guys are just playing with a different intensity, man. Like, it's just like we want it. Like, we want it. There's just that Pete swagger. And the guy's like 70 something, and he doesn't look a year older. I mean, he doesn't. He looks like he's 50. I mean, like, it's insane. Like, how much energy that guy has, and you can tell he's transmitting to the whole team, and you can tell there's definitely like something clashing, and it's like, it's one of those things, like, it's like, let's say you've been married with somebody, 10 years, right? And it's just like you almost feel like there's an obligation to stay with them. But it's like, like if you tried everything and there's just no love anymore, it's like, I honestly think like both parties can get better. Like between Pete and Russ, both can benefit from this. It's just a matter of, I mean, Russ has got to figure it out. Like Russ has got to figure it out on his end, but it's giving him an opportunity to grow, and we'll see if he's able to take that next step. But and then for the Seahawks, I mean, there's no question. I mean, everything is better after this trade. We have more resources. We have more draft picks. The roster's full of young talents. Our salary cap situation is great. We're winning ball games. We're winning in Pete style fashion. Or like I said, I mean, the vibe around the place is just different. Guys are just humming. There's just, it's like there's that enthusiasm. It doesn't feel like, this is a duty, or we got to do this, we got to do that. No, it's like these guys, they want to be here, they want to play well, they want to dominate, they want to come out and play, hard, physical, no style football. And so, I mean, I hope it keeps up Seahawks. I hope I'm not jinxing them. I'm knocking on wood right now. But man, as a Seahawks fan, like, I could not have been more wrong in this situation, and I'm just so happy that it was. Like, this is looking amazing. Like I'm over the moon about the Seahawks. I mean, we just dominated the Cardinals. Both times we played them. The defense just totally turned around. I like what Clint Hurst's doing, Sean Desai. Those are the two D coordinators in Seattle. I mean, Kenneth Walker might be the best running back in the league. I mean, like he has this little dance move, this little shimmy. I mean, dang. And he's quick too, It reminds me a little bit of Barry Sanders, how he can just make guys miss and how fast he is. I mean, he is lightning fast. Like it's one thing, like a lot of running backs have moves, but when you got quickness and moves, like, and not only that, but it's like when you make your move that you're still quick, because a lot of guys slow down and make their move, and so it's like either you make the guy miss or you're, or is going nowhere. I mean, this guy, he's got quickness, moves, like just, I don't know how to describe it. He has like this shuffle step. It's just like, it's really quick, and yet it just really throws the defender off balance. And he doesn't have to slow down to do it very much. So it's impressive. I mean, all the two tackles. I mean, usually when you throw tackles as rookies into a game, I mean, it's just a nightmare. You look at Geno. I mean, he's been upright. I mean, he sacked only twice today, and I mean, the Cardinals too. They come after you. I mean, they send the blitz, they send the house a lot of the time. So they're a team that usually they would give us fits with their blitzes, and today, I mean, we just had a game plan for everything. Like I said, Geno is always one step ahead of him, and every time I see Geno play against every team this year, just one step ahead of everybody. Even the games he lost earlier in the year, Geno played well. He didn't play well in the Denver game. I forgot the first game of the year. I don't even remember the second game of the year, but I know we lost. I don't think he was good in that one. Then after that, it's been impressive. And he's just getting better and better and better, and the whole team is believing more and more. And we're young. We're only getting better. I mean, everybody's just getting better. I don't think we're winning the Super Bowl this year, but I think we're going to make it in the playoffs. I think we're going to make some noise, and then next year I think we'll be contenders. I wouldn't be surprised if we re-sign Geno and then draft a rookie and have him sit 1 or 2 years behind. But I mean, I saw John Schneider, like, I mean, he's just happy. Even he can't believe it. That's what I'm saying. Like, everything since Russ, even in draft picks, we've had shitty drafts, and ever since Russ left, like this year, I mean, we hit on every pick. Literally, we hit on every pick pretty much. Like the first 6 picks, like that never happens. Since it doesn't happen since for us, like since 2012. And I mean, the other person I criticized a lot was Jody Allen. Right? I was like, what is she doing? She doesn't know. Never would this have happened under Paul. I mean, so far she's gotten it right. And even the Trailblazers, they're playing well. So I thought she was destroying their team too by trading C.J. McCollum and Norman Powell. And no. I mean, so far, she was right. I gotta, apologize, tip my hat, whatever. But I mean, when you're wrong and you got to give credit where it's due, you give it. And I mean, the Seahawks just, it's impressive, man. In the NFL, I've never seen something like that I can recall. Um, like such a quick turnaround when you move on from a Hall of Fame, like 10-year elite Super Bowl winning quarterback. I mean, he was, and all this stuff it's funny because all this stuff is coming out now that Russ left. And when you look back, it's like, yeah, I can see it now. I can see the clash. And, it's like Russ has this certain image, and he thought that he had to be a certain type of QB to enhance his image. And like I said, if winning isn't your priority in this league, it is too hard. This league is too fucking hard to win in it. If you're thinking about stats, if you're thinking about numbers, about your playing style, no. You gotta take whatever defense is giving you, right? And you gotta play to your strengths, right? Lamar Jackson, like look at how much he runs, right? Like that's not good for his future. Like I don't know how long Lamar Jackson can last in sleep, but dude, if Lamar Jackson starts to try to play like Tom Brady, man, he's not gonna. I mean, he'd be awful. The Ravens wouldn't win many football games. That goes for a lot of guys. Jalen Hurts. I think a lot of those, Kyler Murray. I mean, a lot of those QBs, man. If they try to be that prototypical QB in the pocket, that's not gonna work. That's never worked for. I mean, Russ was like off the script. He'd buy time and do all that stuff, and his legs just looks. I mean, at times I see the quickness, but man, it just not often. And he doesn't run enough anymore. And honestly, like I was looking at some of his Instagram, and he just looks out of shape. I mean, he looks big. He looks too big, like chubby big, not like muscular big. Like that's, for a guy who's a professional and has all this team around him, like, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like football. Like I know he works hard on that, but it doesn't feel like in his mind football is his priority. It feels like in his mind his image is his priority. That's one of the things I loved about Brady. Is like he took a lot of pay cuts. He just cares about winning. Now he has that TB12 on Instagram stuff where he's branding his clothing, which I'm not a huge fan of, but just because I don't know, it feels a little awkward. Like he's never been that type of dude, but if it works well for him, great for him. But he was always about winning, doing what's best for the team. Running, throwing. I mean, it doesn't matter. He didn't care about the stats. He was perfect for Bill Belichick because he wasn't above the team. He was coachable, right? Like Russell Wilson, like 2 years ago, man, throwing his whole line under the bus on the Dan Patrick show. I mean, dude, a lot of those sacks are your fault. Like, yeah, and especially now when we look back at it, it's like we always thought the O-line was the problem, but the O-coordinators and all that, and I mean, Geno's pretty protected. He's doing pretty well. I mean, yeah, there's a few sacks a game like everybody, but and even him, like when he takes a sack, a lot of the time it's because he's holding him too long because he's trying to find Tyler and DK down the field. So, like, there's that temptation to hold the ball too long, but he's much better at bouncing, like going deep versus checking down versus. And that's the other thing with Geno. The first couple of weeks, man, he was just checking down and just didn't want to turn the ball over. Now he's got that perfect balance. And I just didn't know Geno had that kind of arm talent. And I think you don't really see that when a guy's like he doesn't have the mental aspect of the game down because you're making so many bad decisions that it doesn't look good. But when you're making, I mean, he's putting those throws in really tight windows at times. Even Mark Sanchez, who commentated not this game but the past two games, I mean, he was impressed. It was a different Geno. So. Even than last year, because last year, like, he was trying not to turn it over. It was like preseason, was like just trying not to turn it over. First couple of games, just trying not to turn it over. I mean, ever since, they let him loose, I think it was around week 3. He's athletic. He can run, make all the throws. I've talked way too long because I'm so enthusiastic about this, but like, I never saw this coming. I did not see this coming. And it's week 9. I don't think it's. Yeah, I mean, this team looks for real. I mean, I don't see any fluke, any coming back down to earth. Even Gino, I mean, Gino's like my one small concern, but like I said, it's not like he doesn't have the arm talent. And we have a great the offensive corner is great. I mean, he just and the mental side of the game, like, you know, that's the part that worries me. How other teams will adjust to him, but I'm looking and it's like I said, he just seems like he's one step ahead of the opponents. Like the audibles he's making at the line, man. Like the way he controls the huddle in and out, the play clock, decision making, everything is just on point. Everything. It's like when there's like a good vibe and everything, you're happy inside, and everything's just kind of externally kind of happens synchronistically. Because it just in life it just I don't know, for me at least, it just kind of feels like that happens. Like everything's in osmosis. Like, man, that's like the Seahawks right now. Just everything. Everybody just seems like on the same page. Everybody's bought in. The defense, the special team, the offense, it's complementary football. We have a lot of possessions in every game. The time of possession is great in every game. It's just nuts. Nuts. Anyways, I'm going to keep putting up these videos as long as I'm enthusiastic about it. Because right now, I mean, sports is amazing. The Seahawks, obviously, but a lot of weird stuff going on in the NFL, as I mentioned, and then also the NBA. NBA season started up, and there's a lot to talk about. I'll probably talk a little bit about Brooklyn because that's the big story. I'm kind of waiting to see if what happens on the Udoka front. But anyway, stay tuned, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye, guys. Enjoy your week.